Another important structural directive is the ngSwitch directive. Compared to the ngIf and ngFor, the ngSwitch is set of three directives. The ngSwitch is the main directive, and then you have the ngSwitch case where you define different cases which, if true, will render the element to the DOM, and the third directive is the ngSwitch default directive. The ngSwitch default will get used when none of the switch cases is met. If you have ever worked with an object-oriented programming language like C# or Java, it is similar to the switch case of these programming languages. So basically you define in the ngSwitch the statement, then in the cases or ngSwitch cases you check for the values, and if none of the values is met, then in that case you just use the ngSwitch default. We are going to use the same h2 tag in this part as well, so then I'll just go to Visual Studio and see it in action. And here on the home component we have the h2 tag. I'll just remove this part, just remove it completely. And then in the home component.ts, I'll also remove the isVisible, and then just define a property. Let's say integer value is equal to, let's say, 10. Let us save the change in here and go to the home component.html. And here I'll just create a div because I want to wrap the h2 inside a div. And in the div, we need to define the ngSwitch. So in here I'll just type ngSwitch. And we want to switch in the integer value. So basically we want to check for the value of the integer value. Then inside here, we're going to add the switch cases. So let me just now cut this line, paste it in here, and then on the h2 tag, I'll just type ngSwitch case. So if the value, let's say, is 0, then I'll just display the value is 0. I'll add another case, so if the value is 10, we'll display the value is 10, or maybe just the value is the integer value in here. So I'll use the string interpolation. I'll just copy it and paste it down here as well. And then let us add it for, let's say 20, and then 30. And then if none of these values is met, then you can just type in here another h2 tag. But now instead of using the ngSwitch case, we're going to use the ngSwitch default. Now, since this is the default value, you do not need to compare it against the value, so I'll just remove it. And then we'll have in here the value is the default one. Now let us save the change in here and go to the app. And since in here we have set the integer value to be 10, we expect on the screen to see this is the 10. So let us go back to the app. Now here on the screen, we do not see the text at all. So let us just go back to our app one more time. And here you can see that we have the ngSwitch, but the ngSwitch needs to be used with square brackets. So in here, we define the value. So we're going to define that the ngSwitch is going to be used against this value. And then using this star in here, we are checking for the value. Let us save the change and go back to the app one more time. Now you can see in here that we have the text, the value is 10. So let us just go back to the app one more time. In the home component.ts, I'll just change the value to 15 because I know that 15 does not exist in any of the switch cases, which means that all this will be false and we'll use the default switch. So let's just go back to the app. Now you can see that the result is the value is the default one. Now this is all about the default built-in structural directives. On the next part, you'll learn how to create your custom structural directive.